big hit from Allison on Zukivski, but the official didn't like it. And the Nottingham player's up, and he's going looking for Scott Allison. Oh, and it's showtime. Oh, Allison with some good hits there. And the officials still can't get in to stop this. They're in now. And looking at Zukivski, he could well be regretting his decision.
Penalties against the Nottingham Panthers. Number 1, Jared Jakuski, receives 2 plus 2 plus 2 for roughing. 91 Nottingham Panthers, 2 plus 2 plus 2 for roughing. Against the All-Sport Sheffield Steelers, 19, Scott Allison receives a 2-minute minor penalty for elbows, plus a further 2 plus 2 penalty for roughing.
Now it's Kovacs with a shot denied by Robbins again. Oh, and here we go. Kovacs and Beaulieu obviously missed each other during the summer and, well, just having a bit of a hug, really. Oh, another great stop by Shervin. And another minor scuffle breaks out. Well, there's no way past Shervin tonight, and the Nottingham players are getting a bit frustrated. It's Tony Hand in there with Rob Wilson.
Creates this Glenn Mulvina shot, and of course Trevor Robbins comes equal to the save.
Well, this is a little fight going on now, and Greg Hadden and Mike Bodnarchuk have got themselves all hot and bothered about something. They're going for a big sit down shortly.
Well, I think that's resurrected itself from about a shift or two beforehand, where Mike Bodnarchuk got pulled down deep in Nottingham territory. He wasn't very happy with that, and I think that was a result of a confrontation between these two players.
Well, Bodnarchuk isn't finished yet, but he's being chaperoned back. Well, there you can see how it all began.
Well, Bodnarchuk definitely initiated it, and you can see he gets in close there. He's got a couple of haymakers going. But Hadden manages to bring him to the ground. I think he got one back himself. But as soon as those players hit that ice, Steve, that's when the two linesmen go in and they try and break the play up.
Garden's back on the ice. The puck was right across the crease. and Manchester couldn't turn it in. And now there's going to be a double penalty called. Graham Horner has called a penalty to each side, and there's still more to go, so maybe he's going to have to send a couple more players to the box.
Knows Roy Mitchell get involved in that, but I think it was Brad Rubichuk. I don't know with who. I know Corey Bolio was involved. Roy Mitchell looks like he's going to the penalty box. But Brad Rubichuk, he's a guy with American Hockey League experience. There's the two of them going at it. Bolio, if you like, being the third man in there, but pulling Rubichuk away from Roy Mitchell. He doesn't want any rough stuff. Just trying to calm things down. You notice how everybody picks a man up out there. Nobody wants to be getting outnumbered. Well, there's Chris Miller in the penalty box, picking up the slashing call. And on the other side of him, that's Roy Mitchell going in there. He's going off for cross-checking. Two defensemen, Steve, certainly will probably hurt the Nottingham Panthers more than the Manchester Storm.
So we'll see what happens now with even more space out on that ice rink. At the moment, the referee is still wanting to talk to some of the Nottingham players. He wants to get this sorted out at the moment. Is he going to have another Nottingham player sitting down on the bench? He wants to have a word with the captain at the moment. No, everybody's happy now. It's 4-on-4 anyway, so they're all for Nottingham Panthers as Manchester Storm take advantage now of that extra space out there. See what they can do. They've given up the puck, though. It's a big hit there by Hurley on Leach. Graham Garden just checks.
And I'm sure this is one of the things that Kurt Kleinendorst is saying to his players. Fellas, these guys are a bit short-staffed. Let's go out. Well, what an impressive career Trevor Robbins has had since he's come over to this country. He certainly did a tremendous job at the start of the year. Bit of an altercation there in front of Nottingham's bench. Lots of players involved. Mike Blaisdell in there. He doesn't like to sit back.
There's a penalty being called against Simon Hunt for retaliation. Graham Horner said that he saw some retaliation, and the initial incident presumably was against Stefan Kettler, because he's also being sent over. Well, Stefan Kettler's gone to sit on the Manchester Storm bench, but he'll get up pretty quick because he is coming to sit down. So too Simon Hunt.
Well, there's Simon Hunt. Well, there's Kettle in there. It looks like Graham Garden is Simon Hunt in the middle of it. Jamie Leach. Both going to the penalty box, though. You got Kettle in there as well as Simon Hunt.
Right, well, we've got some minor unsporting penalties being called here, and also an extra penalty on the home player as well. So it's going to be 4 minutes called up against Kettler and 2 minutes called up against Hunt. So we are going to be having a penalty coming up. A power play opportunity for Nottingham in the fullness of time, but not just yet.
Simon Hunt with the unsportsmanlike conduct call. But the Manchester Storm, Steve, picking up the extra 2 minutes here. And there's Jonathan Weaver in a penalty box serving it.
And there's going to be blood and guts out there for the remaining 45 seconds. And there is going to be a penalty and a chance for Manchester Storm to have 45 seconds of a power play. Everybody's getting involved because it is so tense out there at this time, but Rubichuk is on the ice.
Well, he's down, he's hanging on. And of course, what a crucial player he's been for the Storm so far tonight.
Corey Bolio's going off. Cross-checking, was it? Maybe cross-checking from behind. He's the man that's going to be going off, but it's certainly a power play for the Manchester Storm. They've only got 45 seconds to make the most of it. This is the first penalty of the third period. Brad Rubichuk, I don't know if he'll play much of a part in the remainder of this game. but this could be oh so very important.
Well, it's good to see Rubachuk back up, but in fact, the cross-check from behind, if we can have a look at it, that's the one that the referees have been calling this season. The officials don't like that one. Oh, he's in pain, you can see that. There'll be a lot of force there. The thing about it is you don't see it coming.
Corey Bolio picked up 285 penalty minutes when he was at Sheffield. He picked up 176, 178 last season alone. And he's now picked himself up a couple more minutes tonight. Corey Bolio, who'd already been called this evening for 2 minutes in the second period, now gets to sit out the remainder of this game. In fact, I think he's been called 2 + 2 + 10, so that's another 14 minutes to add to his penalty minute statistics.
Well, here's the calls being made by Graham Horner to both captains of the teams.
I think there's going to be a call as well against Manchester Storm as well, so in fact we're not going to have a power play at all. 2 + 2 + 10 plays 2 minutes, I think is the call that Graham Horner is just explaining at this stage, and 44 seconds left. It's all very tense, isn't it? All very exciting.
Graham Horner also going to his linesman there to see if he saw anything. Well, the penalty going up on the scoreboard here at the MEN Arena in Manchester. 4 minutes certainly to Corey Bolio.
Attempted butt-ending the call against him, 2 + 2 + 10, but I think there's a slash as well against Brad Rubachuk, so I wondered if he was fit enough to play any further part in the game. He's not going to, because he's going to sit it out on a 2-minute penalty for him, but that's 2 + 2 + 10 for attempted butt-ending, which is clearly a serious call, and he's not happy about it. Oh, in fact, he's got a double penalty as well. 2 + 2 for attempted spearing. So that's 4 minutes to go on Brad Rubachuk's record for the night. He's got 2 goals, very importantly, as well. 2 goals that helped Storm to lead by 3 goals to 2.
Well, you can see the Brad Rubachuk is hurting a little bit. Corey Bolio will be coming off the penalty bench, and he'll be going straight to the dressing room under the cheers of the Manchester Storm crowd here, as he's going to take an early walk to the showers. And of course, that puts pressure on the Manchester defense, gets them to cough that puck up, and you get turnovers deep in the zone. And of course, good scoring opportunities for Nottingham.
Puck is frozen against the ice, and one or two players thinking about getting involved in a fight there. The referee quickly told them to cool things. Hunt was one of the players that might have lost his temper. Zukuski, he's taken a few penalties as well since he's come here, but no penalties this time.
Well, one of the things that always happens when you got games back-to-back is these players keep their memories going.
Now it's Bolio facing Brabant. He got the shot, comes back into the boards. Plenty of Panthers around there. Robbins fell on the ice, and again tempers just starting to flare a little at this moment. There's Bolio facing up to Hurley and Jablonski.
One thing that definitely does not change, I just spoke about that earlier on, there's big Darren Hurley. He's the guy in front of that net. He's trying to cause controversy. Robbins doing a good job here, though, going from side to side on the net there. And boy, what an aggressive goaltender.
Nice little drop pass from Leach back to Mitchell. Gets it in towards that net, and it's taken. And there's a fight with Scott behind the net. Scott and Mitchell going for each other. And they calmed down quite quickly. Bolio was coming in to get involved as well, and fortunately for Nottingham he didn't. But two more players going off for roughing, I would imagine.
Well,
2 minutes each for roughing.
Physical presence being the key to the game here. Again, Mike Blaisdell telling his guys to finish their checks off. Peter Angelo's coming up with a huge save, and just behind the net there, the Blair Scott Morris incident. Rick Brabant showing a lot of composure there not to come back on Graham Garden, but I don't know if he saw that play at all. I think we've got two roughing calls on either side. Blair Scott taking the one. And I would have thought that Roy Mitchell's going to go off on the other side.
Roy Mitchell just taking his time to get to his position. So we've got Mitchell joining Haddon. Sten and Scott are on the other side. Is two players from each side now sitting down. And so it's going to be more time. In fact, he's called those as coincidental. Look, very close. 12-12 penalty minutes. Mike Bishop's not trying to move you out of the way.
That's right. You got a little bit more time that way.
Fair play there, Jonathan Weaver. He's on the side that are winning at the moment, 5-0. Well, there's more argy-bargy going on here in this game. It is physical, and that's what we expected. As Zukuski and Rubachuk want to have another go at each other, they're going to have some more penalties here.
Well, I don't think either player will back down in that situation. Andy Carson certainly getting kept busy, isn't he, in this period? And if that lead's going to stay the way the Manchester Storm, they're very much going to have to work for it. Mike Blaisdell making sure that everybody's out there paying the price.
Slashing and roughing the two calls on the two players, one to each side.
Double minor penalties there, Steve, on that call.
But we're going to go 5-on-5 anyway, so it's not going to make any difference in that respect. But of course, Nottingham have less options. Mike Blaisdell has much fewer options.
Steelers can't clear the zone because the ref are in. Shot comes in and Shervin makes the save.
And Paul Eadie following himself through, going into the net. But Alan Schuler's there, making sure that he's got his man as well. And there's the two guys, eh? Schuler and Paul
First
Eadie.
fight of the game, and it's Alan Schuler up against Paul Eadie. An unlikely combination, that really, Paul Eadie. But obviously something was said, presumably about Paul Eadie getting involved with knocking the net off and driving onto Riendeau, maybe.
Well, I haven't seen so much in the fisticuffs in terms of Alan Schuler, but certainly Paul Eadie has over the years, and he's a rough, tough customer, but both guys got their fair share in on this one as they both head to the penalty box.
Do you know, that's going to be Alan Schuler's first penalty in this competition of this particular season. He hadn't drawn a single penalty, Alan Schuler, in the Benson Hedges Cup till now.
Well, there's a situation, you can see it, when two guys square off, you try and get in tight, and you want to get the odd one in there if you possibly can, but if you're in close like that, no players really do get hurt in a situation like that. Mark Wolf, the assistant captain of the year, Scottish Eagles, and boy, he's a guy from time to time has done a great job. So 2+2s to Paul Eadie and Alan Schuler.
And it wasn't during play, so therefore they're going to sit down and
Start by the Air Scottish Eagles to the second period. But I now see a bit of a momentum change in favor of the Nottingham Panthers now. They're starting to get the legs moving a little bit.
another penalty is being called, though. It's going to be the Nottingham Panthers short-handed again. They'll have to test out that penalty killing.
Well, all kinds of bodies in the air territory there. You've even got Vincent Riendeau. He's out of his net, not happy with it. Jeff Hove, former Nottingham Panther. He's one of the guys that has played and won 2 cup finals. And he's a fierce competitor. He's got a great reputation. There's Darcy Lowen. What does he do well? Boy, he finishes his checks off. And he's making the air Scottish Eagles pay on that one. And there's nothing worse than going straight into that barrier. Boy, baby, that one hurts.
Well, Darcy Lowen's going to get 2+10 for checking from behind. And there's going to be a penalty on air as well.
Well, that's the very call that Kurt Kleinendorf was concerned about. And I suppose to a certain extent it was a discretionary call, but you got Darcy Lowen going into the penalty box. He's got the 2+10 on the checking from behind.
And in fact, they opened the penalty bench for the Air Scottish Eagles, but then Mike Rowe didn't call a penalty. So this is going to be an opportunity now. Darcy Lowen there again. The bagpipes are playing, but at the moment it's a lament for the Air Scottish Eagles. Or is it a call to battle, a rallying cry? There's going to be another penalty, a delayed penalty, another opportunity for Ayr to go on the power play. There's a little bit of pushing and shoving. An elbows call has been made. Nottingham Panthers are going to have to do more penalty killing shortly.
Well, Scott Young involved there, Simon Hunt and Zakuski pairing off with Scotty Young, but on this play where the penalty's called to Steve Roberts, this is an open hitting defenseman's dream. Look at this, baby, because DaCosta just stands Viet up, and that allows Carpenter to just move right into the play, and oh wow, that baby hurts.
Steve Carpenter picks up another 2 penalty minutes. Elbows the call this time. He's sitting there alongside Darcy Lowen. He's on the left of Darcy Lowen. Steve Carpenter can't miss him with all that hair.
I'll tell you, Steve Carpenter is the best open ice hitter without a doubt in this league this season, and he does that so very well. He got his elbows up a bit on this play, boy, but if you're going to cross
Just into centre ice, but it's picked up again. This is Eadie. Eadie gets the shot away, and it's stopped by the netminder, Grant Shervin.
Well, so far in this game, Grant Shervin has definitely been on fire. He's made some very big saves for his Sheffield Steelers side, and Nottingham has very much started fast. That's Paul Eadie. He's coming in at his best there, again on his offside, but you can see Grant Shervin, look at this guy come way out of the net. He's aggressive. He cuts that angle down. Paul Eadie's got to get the shot away quick. If he's going to beat him, it's going to be difficult. Temper's play. Jamie Van Der
just wide from Derek Laxdal, just over, I think, in fact. This is Carpenter. And Carpenter brought down by Tita Wynn, but the referee didn't call anything that time, but he has now called the penalty. Slashing is the call. Carpenter, meanwhile, is just getting caught up there, but there's going to be a penalty against Nottingham for slashing. It's being called.
Well, Stevie Carpenter on that play probably felt that he was hooked down on the aggressive forecheck by Teeter Wynn. As a result of that, he takes the slashing call, but he automatically, what did he do? He went straight over to Teeter Wynn. We're going to see this on the replay because Teeter Wynn's got to show some composure here, otherwise he's going to go back on a minor. As a result, he nullifies that, shows his composure. There you go, Stevie Carpenter, go over to Wynn, try to intimidate him into taking an additional 2-minute call as well. As a result, Steve Carpenter sits to 2 minutes, nullify.
Well, the power play's over, obviously, but there was only 8 seconds left anyway. Has to be said, I think Steve Carpenter might have had a point about the hooking penalty on him just before the slash that got him the 2 minutes. Chapman. Still Chapman, gets the shot away, bounces back out in front, and Zania happy just to get down on it, and Borleo making sure Hayward has kept one away. And I think the referee's going to look long and hard at that one. He's going to call a roughing penalty against Borleo. So it's going to be Sheffield Steelers with another opportunity to go on the power play.
Well, Corey Bolio taking a roughing call here. Chapman with a head of steam. But as always in the Sheffield Arena, look at how lively these boards are behind the net. And Zanier in the net certainly has to be lively and on his toes there to try and make sure he covers that puck up. Otherwise, it's like a rebound going out to those forwards. There's Bolio, of course. He's doing the job. He's protecting his goaltender.
Well, Corey Bolio is the king of the penalty minutes, and of course he would.
With one defenseman moving forward, John Wynn, and Tony Hand had to do a good job.
Oh, and here we go. There's a fight with Jarrett Sikuski getting really stuck in there. Is that with Big Falkenhall?
I think that's
Jamie
Van Der Horst. I'll tell you what, two guys smaller in size, but you saw it. They went toe to toe. And that's what I call an exceptional ice hockey fight. They don't come better than that. That must have been 30 seconds. Each guy landing probably 15, 20 punches.
And his reaction to the crowd as he skated to the penalty bench suggested that Jamie Van Der Horst thought he'd won that one. 2+2 each for roughing.
Well, I think the complimentary calls here, but you can see both getting those right hands loose. And they're taking a crack at one another. Again, nobody gets hurt in a situation like that. Perhaps Jamie Van Der Horst knuckles there because Zakuski still had his helmet on.
Jamie Van Der Horst, as I said, Jarrett Zakuski's had his fair share of penalty minutes. He's only just come off the bench. Could have been offside. That is offside this time.
Some altercation happening there. Darcy Lowen involved there. But the linesmen go in very quickly and try and nullify any sort of excursion that's going to happen there.
Well, Cale Short crashed into the boards and it looks as though he's hurt his collarbone. Whether it's a break or whether it's just bruised, they're putting the ice on there. Cale Short, such bad luck really, because he wasn't quite as badly affected as Tita Wynn, but after they went to the Continental Cup in Russia, they came back and they had glandular fever. And it really was quite worrying for a while because they didn't know it was glandular fever. They thought it might even be diphtheria.
Well, I think, you know, that has been a cause to some of Sheffield Steelers' problems. There's a hit by Laxdal, but it's on our near side there.
Sure, the puck didn't get shot again. Jason Weaver right up to the other end, gets the shot on Grant Shervin, who drops it and then decides the best thing to do is just to cover up. Mark Colsaw getting stuck in there and having a little punching war with
Cale Short, who thankfully seems to be okay with his shoulder after that injury that he had earlier on that needed icing on his collarbone.
Well, you got to finish the play off with your players, and that's so very important, and that's what Cale Short has done there. He's made sure that nobody's going to get at Grant Shervin in his nets. Kolsar looking for some extra garbage, perhaps, initiating something, but to no avail.
Well, Mark Kolsar.
You know, one of the things that I've certainly noticed tonight, Dominic, and that is in the fact that, you know, there's just been hit after hit after hit, and guys are finishing their checks off. And, you know, we're getting some of these clips here, and I mean, I've never seen a game as physical as this all season long, and, you know, it's very successful. Look at this. These guys are 200 pounds. They're 14 stone, and they're banging the heck out of one another out there. And if they're going to be successful, that's how you win games, because it still reverts back to one thing, and it's a one-on-one battle. And you win that one-on-one battle, you also win the puck.
It's successful, and the coaches probably enjoy it, and the crowd certainly enjoy that sort of thing, Bob, don't they? They like to see the big hits.
They do, you know. It's an aggressive type sport, and you know, you don't always have to see all these big high scores and that sort of thing. I mean, goals certainly help the situation and create the entertainment value, but I'll tell you, it's brute muscle out there. That's what makes them smile. Expecting to have one of their forwards go high. That's to try and pull the defense of this. Well, there's the open ice hit, if we've ever seen it. But Derek Laxdal, he's a big man at 6'2". That's not going to stop Steve Carpenter. Is he still aggressive enough to go after that puck?
Steve Carpenter had his injury problems. He was last game winning streak for only the second time this season. It looks as though that might be a bit difficult as Corey Bolio drops the gloves with Derek Laxdal in the corner. Laxdal and Bolio. Bolio, the former Steeler, Laxdal, the former Panther, having a go at each other, and they'll be off. They're going to be sitting down for at least 2+2 for roughing, I guess.
Well, that was a challenge at two heavyweights, but it didn't work out to that because it looks like Derek Laxdal kind of lost his footing there. But Derek Laxdal on some aggressive forechecking, and he's again finishing his check off. Both standing and looking at one another. They take a crack. Bolio gets a couple of strong right hands there, but they both go down. And as a result, the linesman will go in at that stage and try and break the fight up.
So roughing calls for both of them, and that means that Derek Laxdal picks up 4 more minutes to go with the 2 minutes he picked up in the first period. And that means that Corey Bolio now has 8 minutes altogether. You can see there Mike Bishop, he's serving a 10-minute personal penalty for abuse of an official. That was carried over from the second period. So, we've got 3 players sitting on the penalty benches, but we remain 5-on-5. Because we've got over 2.5 minutes left on this game yet. Nottingham doing the right thing though, they're being very aggressive. They're getting it into the Nottingham zone and making sure, or into the Cardiff zone and making sure it stays there. Weaver is the player playing without his helmet at the moment. Carpenter and Chin having a little tussle out there on the blue line. Some big hits there. There's Weaver, Jason Weaver without the helmet. Weaver getting involved, there's going to be a penalty here, and it's a delayed penalty. Kolsar can settle it now, Kolsar goes round, and Kolsar on the delayed penalty gets the goal. Mark Kolsar. Mike McWilliam is taking on Weaver on the far side. Mike McWilliam has completely lost it. Well, it's not the first time he's done that this season. Frustration, no doubt, part of the cause, because the Nottingham Panthers could very well just have won this game with that great goal. Well, I'd say that's Carpenter down at the other end. Carpenter obviously took quite a big hit there.
Well, I'll tell you what, my opinion here, Steve, it's just been a complete lack of discipline on behalf of the Cardiff Devils. And, you know, sure, they're frustrated here. They're, you know, Nottingham just scored and they're down 3-1 with less than just over 2 minutes left to go in the game. But, you know, they don't need that. Evans, you know, he took about 3 shots at Weaver, and then McWilliams hit him a couple times, and then Evans comes in and nails him with a few shots. I mean, you know, Paul's got to have a little bit more control of his team than that. I mean, that's just a terrible display of sportsmanship as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it all just fell to pieces for the Cardiff Devils at that point, and that could be the moment that they lose the lead.
still plenty of games to go. They can catch the Manchester Storm, but...
Well, look, you know, here we are. Giveaway again by Cardiff. We talked about it. Kolsar makes a great goal here and puts his team ahead. And I'll tell you what, it was nice patience by Kolsar. He kind of, Herlovsky's a good goaltender. He stands his ground, but Kolsar just kind of waits him out and puts it in the empty net. Very nice goal. There's another look of it. Nice little shift, waits him out. There wasn't a lot of room to slip it in there, but he slips it in.
Well,
nice
there's all
goal by
sorts of
Kolsar.
arguments still going on. Jamie Craper trying to get hold on this match again. There you can see Mike McWilliam really getting stuck in there, and also in there was Evans, not happy at all.
You know, we talk about 2-on-1s, and there wasn't a lot of back checkers there. I mean, two guys jumped weave, and he didn't have a lot of chance on the play. You know, he just kind of took him by storm after the goal. A very poor show of sportsmanship as far as I'm concerned.
Matulik is furious. He wants something done, and he's furious with the referee, Jamie Craper. And Nicky Chin is having to keep his own captain away from the officials. And part of the frustration must surely be the fact that they know that this game might very well have just gone from them. And there's Matulik.
Arsenal been waved off, and Shaw gets the puck for Sheffield. There's a big fight in the corner. Nottingham pick the puck up. Wide into the middle. Bobby shoots. Wide of the goal. Wilson picks up the Sheffield. Dumps it down.
This time though, it was the battle of the X's. It was ex-Nottingham Panther Derek Laxdale versus ex-Sheffield Steeler Corey Bolio. You'd say the fight ended in a draw, but a little rabbit punch in the back of Laxdale's head whilst on the floor gave him a concussion, which pretty much kept him out of the game the whole season.
Taking a little bit, loses out. Ede. Kolsar puts it over the bar. Allison to win. It's Allison in the middle. Saved by Robbins. penalty for Allison. Good, dumps it in, only as far as short. Whistle's gone. Well in the corner. Plummer making short work of the Nottingham player.
Machulik, now we're going to have the first scrap, and it's Machulik and Sikuski, and they just stand back and let him get on with it. And the holding of the shirts at the moment preventing any real punches. Machulik maybe slightly getting the better of it. All part of the game. It's all part of the attitude between these two clubs over the years, and the linesman finally sorted out, Ross.
Certainly is. There's going to be no life lost, and I'll tell you, that was quite a battle. Both players are big guys. They stood up, they went toe-to-toe, threw a lot of punches, and you'll notice that for people watching hockey for the first or haven't watched hockey that many times, the referees will stand back and let the fight continue until either the players tire out so that they can get in there without getting hurt, or until the players go down on the ice, and then the linesmen jump in and break up the fight. You're going to see Sikuski go after Steve Thornton in the middle, and Ivan Matula comes to Thornton's aid. They push and shove a couple of times, the gloves are off, and away they go. That's a battle of a couple of heavyweights. Both guys are...
A little later, River King Darby Walker gets into a fight and receives backup from Rob.
wondering why Steve Thornton made reference to his parents in Sheffield. For the record, it is because of that he qualifies now for Great Britain, his family in Sheffield, I should say. And this is the man who's going to be in the box at the start of the period. Sacratini, you remember, was involved in a little bit of a problem with Carpenter, which looked accidental. It was quite clear the Panthers didn't see it that way. And that little bit of roughing will give Cardiff the opportunity of a power play right at the start of the second period.
Coach Mike Blaisdell isn't going to be that happy with Graham Garden for that penalty. It was away from the play. Kind of needless at the end of the period. Guards is a very intense player, but he won't be happy with himself for taking that penalty, especially when you look at the power play statistics so far tonight. Cardiff's had one.
A very interesting point because we know that they love to overload. Here we got our first physical battle of the game tonight.
And that's Zakowski having a real tussle there, and well, throwing quite a few punches there, aren't they? Todd Kelman and Jarrett Zakowski getting stuck into each other. They dropped the gloves, not quite sure what sparked it off.
Well, it was a situation where Zakowski and Kelman both got their sticks up over in the boards, and you can see that Kelman was taking advantage of Zakowski's high stick, and they decided both to go at it, and it was a good battle. I'll tell you right now, Bracknell does not want to get too many defensemen involved in penalties. With only 4 defense, they'll wear down it very, very much so for the third period. But it's a situation in a battle like this, you have to go toe-to-toe, and he needed that situation for his own team.
Well, both have been called 2+2 for roughing, which seems fair to me from Mike Rowe, and that means, of course, that we'll stay at 5-on-5 for the next few minutes. But those two players, Todd Kelman of Bracknell Bees and Jarrett Zakowski of the Nottingham Panthers, won't take part for the next 4 minutes, but it will not affect the strength on the ice of the two sides.
We're noticing that Nottingham is being very physical right now in the forecheck. You can see Bobby and Garden like to buzz, and Carpenter stepping up with a hit at neutral ice.
Boston clears the zone. Run over there, Bobby. And here's the first fight, Frank Evans. Well, he threw a punch and it was something and nothing in the end. Frank Evans, a big hit on Bobby, and just a little bit of pushing and shoving, but nothing too serious here.
After all the games that these teams have played over the season, you can tell that there's some hard feelings and some real individual situations that players have developed against opposition, and we can look for some of that physical and aggressive play here tonight. Everything's on the line, and they'll be disciplined, but they'll want to make sure they take somebody to the box with them.
Brent Bobbick's been given an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, 2 minutes, but Nicky Chin has been given a roughing call, 2 minutes against him. There's Brent Bobbick of the Nottingham Panthers, unsportsmanlike conduct, the call by the referee, Andy Carson, and Nicky Chin given 2 minutes for roughing. He was the player that got the hat-trick yesterday. He's involved in the game quickly as well, and we're going to be skating 4 on. Brent Pope now. We've still got McEwen, Chin and Priest out there, the Cardiff Devils. And that's a big hit by Bolio on McEwen, and it's illegal. And elbows was called against Corey Bolio, his first penalty of the game. He doesn't look impressed by Andy Carson's call, but it's going to be a power play for the Cardiff Devils.
After Corey Bolio made this hit on McEwen, he didn't even leave the area. You'll see it's right in front of the referee, right in the penalty box, and he gets his elbow up on McEwen and stands and looks at the referee and knows the call is going to be made. And he's got his first penalty of this game, and it's a big power play for Cardiff Devils and a very big penalty kill for the Nottingham Panthers.